Okay, I guess this is the first of 3 parts of me talking about, or actually it has to be more than 3 parts, of me just talking about stuff that I should have probably seen a long time ago, but never never got around to seeing. And I sort of worked my way into a hole recently. If um, other people are listening to this later down the line, if I decide to release this publicly, I worked my way into a hole recently in a group chat. I for some reason, with my, I don't know, not big mouth because it's not speaking, it's typing, so I guess with my big hands, I don't know how this works. So with my big hands, I decided to make the fact public that I had never, in my entire life, seen High School Musical, either of the three. Now, I kind of vaguely knew what they were about. I know a lot of people have liked them a lot. I read a lot of books when I was younger where it was like the main focus of the book, such in the Windy Mask books, which I'll talk about in a bit. But because of this, I got told that I must leave said group chat if until I had seen it, but I made a bargain here, and part of that bargain was this podcast that I have to make 3 episodes, one for each episode, which one for each movie of High School Musical. I don't know if there's actually extended editions or something. I just got whatever I could get from the library because I'm not going to buy it on iTunes. I'm sorry, not that devoted. Okay, so I'm just going to go over some of the notes I took during the movie. I'm not going to do a play-by-play like I did with A Wrinkle in Time or any of the other movie reviews I have done. So yeah, I guess I'll just get started with the first thing is, what was I expecting? What were my initial thoughts? So I was expecting a cheesy made-for-TV film about a bunch of kids who just like wanted to do a musical together, but are hindered by like very first world problems or something. I don't know. That's just because when I see a Disney show, that's usually what it is. I just I don't like Disney. Okay, wait. I like Disney in general, but I don't like Disney Channel and I don't like their sitcoms and stuff. If I ever see Just to Laugh Productions, their little logo slide show up, change channel, immediately I'm gone. I don't know. Anyway, so in summary, my initial thoughts were I was expecting a cringe fest. But that's not how it turned out. So I'm just going to read some of the notes and then I'll get to my final thoughts here. It's going to be pretty quick. I'm trying to keep this one short. So when the film started, I saw the opening credits at the bottom and I saw, to my great surprise, who was the director? None but Kenny Ortega. Yes, the Kenny Ortega directed this, which actually makes kind of sense. Like, because I had always wondered, like, what was his big film? What put him out into the big, musical verse of being a famous director? And I realized, oh, this is probably it. This is what probably pushed him forward. And from then on, my outlook on what this film would be would change. And that was only like 1 minute in. So in the opening, the first song of the where they are singing in this like hotel lodge thing, um, prop people, do your research, please. Nobody makes wireless SM58s like that. And I know this is very nitpicky, but that's the way I am. I'm very nitpicky about little things because little things are little things, and little things can be fixed on set, and that's very easy. And I'm pretty sure there was a sound person on set who was cringing the whole time that scene was being shot with their fake wireless 58s. But yeah, so at this point, I was just going to accept the fact that all the out of sync recorded and post music, which turns out it was recorded before they did the CD recordings, and then they played it back and they had to lip sync to it, which I guess makes sense. But I just had to accept the fact that it was all going to be out of sync because, I mean, I got used to it back in the early 2000s watching Colby's Clubhouse and Smile of a Child. At least the people singing in this movie are the actual people you see on screen. Because in Colby's Clubhouse, it's like 50, 40-year-old people singing while these like 5 and 6-year-old kids are lip singing to these. Anyway, that was a weird show. I don't know why it was on TV. And it's still airing on TV today, which doesn't really make sense. So yeah, in the first song, we notice that there's very on-the-nose musical choices, meaning the lyrics are very on the nose about exactly what's happening. It's like, someone stubs their toe and let's sing a song. I just stubbed my toe and it hurts so bad. It doesn't have to be that on the nose. But then again, it is Disney and it's a musical. And musicals in songs express the feelings and exactly what they're feeling because you don't usually say that out loud. So I guess that makes sense. And flip phones. Yep, there's flip phones galore in this movie, which is kind of funny to see that this is what it was like right as we were turning into the digital age, in quote unquote. Now I'm sounding like a really person who hates millennials, but I kind of do. That's another subject for another time. And then we going on to the second song, skipping a bit here. My notes were it sounded like Andrew Wong had made that song. If you didn't know, Andrew Wong is a YouTuber who takes common items from around the world and just turns it into music. And taking the basketballs and turning it into a beat there, that's pretty cool. I mean, speaking for all the songs, I kind of liked all the songs. It was pretty good. I liked them. They were okay. Now the portrayal of how when the theater teacher and the basketball coach, Bart Johnson. I'd always saw Bart as the Mel's dad from Gordimer. I didn't even know he was from anywhere else. I saw him in that in Gordimer Gibbon's Life on Normal Street, and I said, wow, this is the best show on earth. That guy's a great actor. And then I followed him on Instagram, and all these people are like, oh, go Wildcats, go Wildcats. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? He's Mel's dad from Gordimer. And then I realized, oh, people actually know him from something else? Oh, he's the coach on High School Musical. Who knew that? I just thought he was Mel's dad. Okay, anyway, so the portrayal of how the theater teacher and the basketball coach took sides is, and then how the principal just completely agreed with one over the other is like 100% completely accurate of how it is in actual schools. Because, I mean, I spent years and years and years with working with faculty and stuff because my parents were both teachers, and yeah, that's exactly how a principal would take sides, and then the teachers just have to deal with it. And there is a lot of rivalry between teachers and schools, even though you may not see it when you're there. It's happening after that last bell rings. Now, a quick note here on continuity. There were a lot, and I mean a lot, of continuity errors. The first one, very apparent. When we cut over to after the lodge and the beginning of the film, and we see them out on the basketball court, Bart and Zach. I'm calling them by their real names because I just can't remember their movie names. But when we see them out there, Bart has a lot of sweat. I know this is weird. He has a lot of sweat on his shirt, and then we cut to another angle, and all the sweat's gone, and you can clearly tell that the second angle was shot before the first angle, which, I don't know. I tried to check the credits to see who did continuity, and there was no continuity director listed, which means either they did such a bad job that they didn't want to list them in the credits, or there just was no continuity director, and no one thought they would need one. And my idea for why it's probably the latter, meaning they didn't even have a continuity director, is because Kenny is used to making movies for TV. And usually TV shows, sitcoms, which is what he did before, are all multicam, which means you don't need a continuity director. You just need you cutting the show together and editing. You usually don't need one. And when you're shooting a film, like a movie for this one, even though it's still a TV movie, he was shooting it all on one camera. So they're shooting the scenes multiple times, but from different angles. And I think Disney was approaching this like it was a TV sitcom, even though it was going to be a feature film. Well, not really a feature film. But anyway, I'm spending too much time on this. My whole point is continuity needed help. But of course, continuity is hard. So, there's no way to really even fix it in post. And on the subject of Kenny, when I see his name on something, I know he makes movies and shows that I hate to love and love to hate. Meaning, I know it's good, but the common knowledge around it is to hate the movie. And then sometimes a lot of people just love to hate on his movies. I've never seen Descendants, but I've heard that a lot of people don't like it and a lot of people love it. And I don't know what side I'm on because I know some of the people in it, and I'm like, well, I don't want to hate on your show, but then again, maybe if it is bad, I should. But can't speak about it because I haven't seen it. Of course, I speak about a lot of things I haven't seen, so there you go. Funny line that I heard from that person who I'm calling Sade, but I don't remember what her name is. It's like, evaporate, tall person. I might use that someday. Going back to on the song, one of my last things here is auto-tune. I didn't realize it at first, probably because it was just so late at night. But as the songs went on, I could tell the people who are here, they had to be really specially casted. Because one, they had to be able to act. Number two, they had to be able to sing. And number three, they had to be able to dance. And to find someone who can do all three perfectly and good enough for a film is going to be pretty hard. And you're going to have to sacrifice on one of the three. And on a lot of the characters, I could tell what they had sacrificed was the singing, even though it was a musical. Because what they're seeing on screen, the acting and the dancing is probably more important to them than the singing is, because they're like, we can always auto-tune it. And I think they overused some of that auto-tune. They should have rewritten some of the songs so they didn't have to hit such high notes where the auto-tune would be so apparent. But yeah. So, going a little long here, so flipping my notebook paper over, I shall read my semi-final thoughts. I'm going to give my final thoughts after I've seen all three. So, to summarize all my final thoughts, or semi-final thoughts, I keep saying that, is 8 out of 10. This isn't the kind of thing I would personally seek out to watch. I got the sense of dread that I get when I try to watch a Muppets movie, like a Muppets musical, or like when I start a Freakonomics episode. Like, it feels like a chore when I'm going to start watching it. But once the second act started picking up there, I got invested into the story. The concept of the clique or whatever, breaking out of the social structure and breaking the norms was a great idea, and I can say that it got me engaged in paying attention and wanting to see what happened. Without knowing much about it, I can say that I'm looking forward to the second film, thanks to the Wendy Mass book 12 Finally, which had a character say that the second film was way better than the first film, but worse than the third film or something like that. No. Second film was better than the first and way better than the third. That the first was better than the third and the second is better than the first. I think that said that right. But I've never seen any of them. So we'll see how it goes. So on a scale from 1 to 10, I give it an 8 out of 10. Which is kind of weird because usually if I didn't really know, maybe if I had known more about it before I went in to watch it and I wasn't paying attention as much, I would have probably given it like a 6 or a 5. But I give it an 8 right now. Probably because I was really tired, and I think anything's good when I'm really tired. So, there we go. That's my kind of short review of High School Musical 1. And we'll see probably whenever my library request for High School Musical 2 comes. We'll see what happens then. I have a deadline of finishing all three by the end of the year, so yeah. Hope I don't get kicked out again.